I'm Matt Rohde. I'm a grain grower in the northern Wimmera, and we grow wheat, barley, canola, lentils, chickpeas and vetch. Some of the challenges faced with grain growing have been revolving around weather conditions and trying to manage risk with potential yield and what we can achieve with our crops. We wanted to find tools for better decision making when growing our crops, and with whether we should be cutting for hay, growing for grain, how much moisture is left in the tank come springtime when we're looking at our crop's potential. Previously, a lot of these decisions have been made from guesswork and maybe haven't been sure of the best way to go about it, whether we should be cutting for hay or whether we should be taking crops through for grain for harvest. And it's been a bit difficult because after you've made that decision, we often wonder whether it's the right decision that we've made based on that guesswork. So to have tools that we can use where we can actually make decisions that are justifiable by the results, I think is really important. One important tool that we wanted in making these decisions was to know what our soil moisture level was, and if we could know what those values are, it would make decision making a lot easier. Our project for the Producer Technology Uptake Program was a weather station and soil moisture probe network amongst local farmers. We wanted to find technology to help us manage risk within our businesses, and we thought doing it collectively as a group would provide much better value, both from a learning point of view as well as an uptake point of view with other growers. When we first started the project, we set up a weather station network that consisted of 5 weather stations and 9 soil probes in around a 30-kilometre radius of Woorak. Following the initial stage of weather stations that we'd set up, more growers got on board, and we now have a network that consists of 19 weather stations and 29 moisture probes, which are evenly spaced across the region and over a different range of soil types as well. The hardware we installed included soil moisture probes that are permanent in the paddock, and they start at 10 centimetres all the way down to 1.2 metres. The weather stations themselves, they record information such as rainfall, wind speed, wind direction, humidity and temperature. Initially we thought most of the value was going to come from our soil moisture information, but we also found additional benefits from the weather stations themselves. Previously we would make spray decisions based on the weather in local towns such as Nil, which could have been 30 or 50 kilometres away from where our paddock operations were taking place. Having the weather stations localised, we find that we can make much safer decisions around sensitive crops and other paddock operations where the information can be vastly different to that recorded at local sites in town. After installing the technology, we've found further benefits that we weren't aware of prior to installing. We've been able to collaborate some of the information that we've collected, and we've been able to put together various pieces of information such as fire danger index at harvest time to try and stop people harvesting when the weather conditions have been adverse. Another problem that we have when spraying is temperature inversion, and it can be a real safety issue, and often it's difficult to identify. With the hardware we've already got in the weather stations, it wasn't difficult to add some inversion monitoring towers. So these are temperature sensors at the height of 10 metres, and we've placed 6 of them strategically around our district to measure temperature inversions. This measures the temperature difference from the height of 10 metres to the height of 2 metres where the weather stations are. The provider of our hardware set up a dashboard for us where all of our information is easily displayed in the one place. We've got a list of all of the sites where we can access the weather information, and a separate link where we can access all of the soil probe data. The information on the dashboard means that we have access to real-time data, and decision making can be made a lot more quickly and efficiently. Adopting the technology, we expected to have some issues and problems along the way, but we found it really easy. The first lot of sites that we had put in were well spaced out, and the additional ones we've added have filled in many gaps where the sites weren't sufficiently covering. My advice to anyone looking to adopt new technology would be firstly to identify the problem and find out what your needs are, and then go and have a chat to others in your field who may also be facing the same challenges.